What's going on, guys? I'm here to do a review for Hunter x Hunter episode 127. Now, this episode starts off giving us a little insight on the bombs that Netero used to fight the king and what he basically used to sacrifice himself to do a substantial amount of damage to the king or either fully kill the king. We haven't completely figured that out yet, but basically, what I've came to the assumption of is he's in a really wounded state but not completely dead. That's my assumption. We got an insight on the bombs that long ago that they were made and banned in all the countries. Over 80% of the countries decided to vote against the ban of the bombs because they had already had made a shit ton of them, so they're just laying around through the countries right now. They're called seeds, waiting to be grew. Like basically roses, seeds waiting to blossom, and they've already been set off in several countries, taking over 5.12 million lives, I believe, or something like that. It's something along those lines. But basically, the bombs have already been set off before, and they were mass produced. They've taken several lives, and that's what we got to find out about the bombs. And right before the bomb was set off, we got to see if we got to see the question might have popped in the king's head that what is the difference between chimera ants and humans? What are the real differences other than just the appearances? Because the appearance varies a lot. All right, and then you go to Killua and Palm. Killua and Palm have just came out of the bottom of the building and they're going to meet up with everybody else. And you got a cargo coming up here and he's like, damn, look at all this place. They wrecked it. And they managed to wreck all of it in only 30 minutes. Then you see a building collapse like the one he's standing on. So you can tell the infrastructure of the whole rest of the castle is still standing, isn't very secure. And basically, Ikago spots Killua and Palm spot Ikago and call him out and it's like, hey, Ikago, bam, there's Palm. And like it took Ikago a minute to realize it or he realized he was basically just shocked by it because of the scales and the little orb that she had on her head after becoming a chimera. Now, what they fused her with, I don't really know. I imagine it's some sort of reptile, but basically what's going on is they're telling him what Gon's gonna do because Ikago's like, well, come on, we'll take you to Beijing now, and he's like, Palm's like, no, I wanna stay here. I wanna respect Gon's wishes because Gon apparently decided he wanted to fight Pito alone. Then Ikago immediately realized that they were waiting to die with Gon because even with Gon's power, and even if they were to rush off with Gon's, all three of those powers would not be enough to kill Pito right now. So how they're gonna take out Pito, I don't really know. But right after they finished explaining the whole plan of Gon and them going to Hill Kite and then coming back, then it's all done. All right, now you got you get Knuckle and Millerion come up, and they're basically saying you get Knuckle in this courtyard first, and he's looking at Poof. They're about to stand off, and then it's Poof's clone actually. You see Poof turn his head, and his half chimera ant looks like a good variation on the Queen and Poof combined, at least in the face. Then Knuckle gets ready to fight, and then you see when Poof turns back and shows another side of the face, Knuckle jumps back. Then all of a sudden you see Poof jet off like he's a fucking Super Saiyan because he turns into a little small round ball like they're about to, like a meteorite coming to the earth, and then he flies off to towards the king because obviously his Knuckle came to the assumption that his other half had seen something bad happen to the king. Well, anyway, after that, Knuckle and Melarion finally meet up with Gon and them, and they basically Killua tells them all the story of what's going on, and then you see him going up to Pito, and you got Pito and Gon and his crew. I mean, Gon and Pito is sitting there, Killua and Palm and Melarion and Ikago are all up there waiting, and they're like, Gon's like, me and Pito will go alone. It'll be faster if we run on foot. You two watch Komogi. And then, Ikago looks at Killua after Gon and Pito leave and is like, are you okay with this? Because you were prepared to die with him. He goes, yes, this was a plan all the way from the beginning because as long as we have Komugi, the Pito won't do anything to Gon. Gon is safe. So right now they're going back to Ilkai. Gon is safe. Pito's over there. And then Ikago, Knuckle, Malarion, and the other dude just are sitting there watching over Komugi. Then it cuts back to Poof and Youpi. Poof and Youpi are going to search for the king. They're already right at the fire, but apparently where the bomb set off is basically like a volcanic top, like the top of a volcano, but it's not as deep. And but the reason is because there's a lot of, I don't really know how it turned into like molten lava, but apparently there's molten lava sitting there. I mean, I understand explosive residue things still may be in fire, things like that, but somehow it's basically turned into lava, and Yuppie's like, Poof, I'm gonna need you to search outside. I'm gonna search inside the flame. So Yuppie's a berserker. Obviously, he's more equipped to go search inside of a bunch of flame. And as they're all searching, Yuppie finds the king and runs out and he starts crying and all of a sudden, or starts yelling in a crying type manner. And immediately, Poof had tears running on his face. He knew what was up. So they came out and Yuppie's like, we're gonna kill all of them, no exceptions. None of them will survive, and we're gonna do it with the king. So I'm not sure if the king's still alive. I mean, the way they're talking, he's still alive, but I don't really know what they're gonna do to strengthen him up to where he can fight again, unless they're just gonna carry him around and fight with him like on their back or their arm or something. But anyway, you got both of them sitting there crying over the king. The king's in a basically potato-like state, blackened out, just a little baby, like yay long. If you compare it with my body, yeah, it's about yay long. And he basically he's unable to do anything at the current time. So right now he's not much of a threat. Netero's bomb did a good job, not a perfect job, but a good job. And that overall, they're going to be headed back towards the castle soon, from the way the story's telling it. And Jill and all of them sitting there, and Gon and Pito are going to Hill Kite, and that's what's going on in this part of the story. Overall, we had plot progression everywhere, all across the board. It was full on plot progression. We had a decent amount of character progression with Gon, I guess. We got to see his rage to the max back when they were in the room with Pito and Gon and Dr. Blythe was healing. He's like, your surgery's done. And it's like, how did he know? Unless I basically did my aura a little bit after I finished the surgery. And then, Komugi wakes up and starts talking, and Pito is about to say, hey, I want to take him to the king. And then Gon stops her right there and points at her and says, if you try to delay me one more time, I will kill her. And at that time, Pito was at basically a point where she could slice his head off with one hand, but she knew how sharp his reflexes were right then, and her instincts told her not to attack. So we got to see Gon progressing a little bit as a character, and we got to see a little bit of deep progression with Pito because of her instincts, or maybe her fear because how accurate Gon has been with all these predictions. And the rest of them, we haven't seen any character progression with. The character progression wasn't very, very good in this episode. But plot progression was exponentially good. Overall, I'll probably have to give this episode an 8 out of 10 just because it didn't have that much character progression. But overall, I enjoyed the episode a lot. And that's just my thoughts on it, guys. Peace.